are having trouble with foreclosures. I send them to her. First one I sent, she said, I'm sure glad you sent this to me. She said, I'm glad you trust me enough to send this. In 10 minutes, she had that guy straightened out. She said, you're too wordy in all this stuff. And she had him straightened out. She knew what she was talking about. So this is going on everywhere. There's a guy by the name of Wade something. People are calling me now and say, well, he's using the same thing you're doing, getting rid of foreclosures and all this. And I don't know him, but he's picked up on it and he's starting to help people. He don't charge anyone to help them. So I'm just telling you, it is not something that, we're the only ones out here doing this. And ever so often I go to Houston, so there's a bunch more down there. And they got the same thing, and that's when they all from Louisiana, a lot of them come over. They look both ways and then they jump across the border. Anyway, on the judge not return your bond, just if any document you get out of him, just write across it what I said and return it to him, and say see bond attached. Okay. All right. What is meant by title owner? When you were born, you lost your title. When they made the birth certificates, you lost your title. They took your title away from you. What title did they take? Sovereign. This little character, we're going to take his title so he can't, we're going to represent him until he reaches the age of 21. So you got to claim title back. You do that through what? Equality under the law is paramount and mandatory by law. I am competent to handle my own affairs. At that point, you become a sovereign. You've reclaimed your title. You are now a sovereign. What is meant by a secured party? Well, in the terms of what they're using it, is that you're responsible for what this straw man does. He goes over into commerce and he wreaks havoc. He buys everything. You're the secured party of that document because you're signing for him every time he buys something you sign. So they're going to come after you as secured party of that document. Why is there such a large space before the word I? On where? That. Let me tell you something. Ed wrote that in blue and red, and when it printed it off, it would not print the blue and the red. It only print. So I took mine and went back onto the computer and made mine out the way it should be. And what's missing out of those spaces is, look at the one of mine on there on the right, and that's the way all of them should look. But he used blue and red, and it wouldn't come out when it printed out. Yeah. Yeah. Do what? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What is meant, by a title sovereign? That's who you are. You're who you say you are. I am Mcleod. I am a title sovereign now. I've taken my title back. Who is Ed Branham? What reliability is this information? Ed Branham has been around for 10 years. I've never met a more honest man than Ed. I wouldn't let him get. I tell you what, I get invitations all the time to let people get up and speak, but if I don't know them, they don't get up here because I have one message to preach, and they might get up here and start talking to you about de facto stuff, and I don't want to do that. But Ed is with the Republic of Texas. He is the Secretary of Privatization. It's hard to, but anyway, and so he's just what? Huh? Oh, that came off Ken Evans. Huh? Well, it goes way back to I could tell you a whole lot of documents it came from, but where it came from originally came from the Mississippi state statutes. And so we started finding out, we started researching, Ed and I and Ken Evans. And we started doing it. What we found out was that that's where the Ben Salem is where you send the bond to. And so we started sending them there. The ones we sent to Ben Salem, they worked. Some of the others, they'd come back. Newspaper article. Notice the fact that there is no mention that the copyrighted name is the all caps name. Is this true? No. Well, that's what they're saying. That is a common law document. In common law, you can write whatever you can, anything. Yes. They're trying to get rid of that. That is bothering a bunch of them. That's why they put it in the newspaper, so you'd read it. You'd say, that guy's nuts. He can't do that. He copyrights his all capital name. You can't copyright a private name. You can't copyright the upper and lowercase. Okay. Who do you invoice? How do you invoice someone? Is that legally or easily? Lawful. Okay. Okay, I guess so. And make sure that they are stopped from future violation of your copyright. If you can show me that, I would gladly put it out. You can't predict anything. They're people, and they go around, and they're always trying to herd you back into the fence. You've gotten out of the fence, and now you're writing all these crazy documents. Says, don't take life too seriously. You won't get out alive. I don't know who wrote that. Are timeshares lawful? If not, how do you get out of them? I don't know what a timeshare is. Oh. I've never done that, so I don't know. They work on anything, getting out of a contract. It literally, and I'll bring you that next week. I told Step, he sent it to me, and I said, I can't get this thing to print off. It wouldn't print off on my computer. But it would tell you everything about what I'm talking about. Somebody's put it into a good, workable form. Maybe we'll have it next week. If I can get it to come off that computer, I'll make it come off so you can't get it off. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to type it out then. They can't keep me from doing that. What?
You go to the rest of the site, they have like tons of other stuff, and it's a fascinating thing. When you buy the whole book, you have to sign a disclosure agreement that you won't tell anyone about what you think of the book.
Well, I ain't gonna tell you all about it. I'm gonna type it out, the part that I want, and I'll give it to you. I ain't gonna tell you about it. Y'all just take it and thing. But it really will. It'll shock you, because it says, what it says in there is the bond, by you declaring equality under the law, it makes that bond then in other words, it discharges everything in that bank with that thing. That's why they fighting them so hard. Would you like to be sitting there as a banker and you trapped all these people into coming in signing these documents, and they getting all this money in 10 times, and then all of a sudden they start coming in with a document that says, I'm taking that away from you. Wouldn't you fight somebody over that? Sure. So it's going to be a good fight. Don't look at it as something. Look at it as a good time. Let me do this. Do you need a 1041 for each year to file? I would. in relation to your statement about ACR 192, you said something that the government paying paying taxes, or any corporation that we start. Where does it say that? I don't remember saying that. In the 7310, I'll have to get that for you. I've got it, and it's like I say go into the book. You said something about the government paying corporate taxes. I didn't say that. What? You have a prepaid account with the corporation, every corporation in the federal corporation. That's why you can do what you're doing. They can't use your credit if they don't give you something for it. And what they proposed to do then was to give us, you never were to be taxed anyway. Never was in the Constitution. So they had to give you exempt from levy. They had to give you a prepaid account because it's your money that started the corporation. Then they get the credit from you. So the government then gives you a prepaid account, and that's what it says. Go in the book and read it. If you don't have my book, I'll give you one of them. But don't, read it and then decide for yourself. It's, and I don't want to make you believe something. You do it on your own. You're the one that has to use it.
I think you just answered that.
Okay, I just answered that. It says, what book are you talking about? What time is it getting to be?
9:25.
Okay. If you have already filed a property tax protest and will be in front of an arbitration board, how would you proceed? Yeah. Just write across whatever they get and do what I'm telling you. The one thing I would always ask them is, give me the value. That's what we're finding out on these people that have been thrown into prison. First thing we've had that really got a response was we wrote to the court, to the judge that sentenced the guy, and said, I want to know what the value of this case is. When you do that, it triggers, because they have to set a value. Then you can discharge it with a bond. See? And what happened was that his own, the warden of the prison wrote him a letter. And he said, basically, if they don't answer this within 60 days, it came from the federal judge way down in South Texas, all the way up to Fort Worth, back down to where this man's being held. And they said, if you don't answer it, then in 60 days, they have 90 days to re-indict you. So they have to give a number. And when you do, then you can write a bond to get rid of the thing. So we're waiting to see what happens on that. And Ed Branham's one that came up, is dealing with this prisoner in jail, and so he's sending us the papers. On 1041, you suggest filing for the years on one form. We've already gone over that. I do it one every year, but you do what you want to. This guy put all of his on one document, and he said, "Send my money back." Huh? Yeah. When reject. Yeah. She was saying that she wouldn't go before the board. She'd just write them back and tell them. We had a deal with an arbitration guy, and the funny thing about it, once we sent him the bond, he sent us the funniest letter back. He said, "I do not wish to contract with a respondent. I have never wanted to contract with these people, and I found a deal in the Texas Code that gives me an out. I cannot charge her anything. I cannot make her pay anything and all this. And he just backed completely out of it. Because it does, what happens is he gets that bond, he's holding the debt in his hand. He's literally responsible for whatever he's holding there. Not you. You have done what? When you give a Federal Reserve note to somebody, aren't you giving them a promise to pay? Now whose responsibility is it to promise to pay? It's the guy you gave it to. You passed it on. Then he comes to somebody else and he said, that guy told me that he was going to pay, so I'm telling you, it's when he pays me, I'll pay you. And this is what it's all about. When rejecting contract from the assessor collector, how does connect to the controller of currency? Because she is over all property taxes in Texas. She'll start writing to you if you get into a thing. I've got into it with her. I still call her Ryland. I won't call her Straighthorn. She got married again, so that's her problem. But huh? Yeah. So you fire her and tell her you don't work for me. Does money flow through tax assessor collector who purchases off to the controller? Yes. See, there was a ruling in the Supreme Court, back in 1980-something. And the Supreme Court ruled that the state could not collect property taxes. That all ad valorem taxes were outlawed forever. And so the state then started letting the counties do it. And we asked Ann Wrinkles, we asked her, we said, we wrote to her and we said, Dear Ann, how does the state collect property taxes? She said, the state is not allowed to collect property taxes. We've been barred by the Supreme Court from doing so. So we wrote back and we said, how does the county get away with doing, collecting property taxes? She said, the state gives the county the right to. So how did the state was told they couldn't do it? How can they pass something they can't do to somebody else? And so then we wrote back and we asked her that question, and she didn't answer. So, Rice, what is the website address who has taken your information and putting it into pretty pictures that we can print? I don't have one. Do you do that? I don't have one. If you want to do it, you're welcome to it. But I can't be part of it. I'm not that knowledgeable in it. And I don't have time. That's the reason he does it all. If I want to separate myself from the straw man, then why do you want to separate yourself from the straw man? Just learn to control him. You don't want to separate yourself from him. He's the one that deals in commerce. You've got to have commerce. Your government is set up with a legislature, which is commerce. You have judicial, which is the courts. You have executive, which is the governor. See, you don't want to separate. You want to be able to shop. What you want to do is understand what you're doing when you shop and be able to control it. Okay. All right. That's all I'm being able to take. I got one little thing here. Before we leave. Yeah, I'm doing a seminar this weekend down in Lake Jackson. Be on Saturday from 9 to whenever. When I get in those things, sometimes I've gone from 9 till 9, 10 o'clock at night. Let's see. Huh?